reality. That is you. How do I love and trust when it costs you everything?
Hello everyone, my name is Yancy Helen Jokem. I'm the founder and CEO of the Hope Center Cameroon, an organization which seeks to rehabilitate women and girls who have suffered or are suffering from domestic violence, bringing out the real worth in them and empowering them to be strong women who can actively contribute to their personal development and the development of their communities. The Hope Center Cameroon was founded on the 27th of May 2017, and its mission is to break the silence and cycle of abuse, thereby rehabilitating victims of domestic violence. Our main objectives are to empower women economically so that they become able to contribute to their personal development. We encourage girl-child education. We link victims of domestic violence to legal and social services necessary for them. We empower women and girls on human rights activities, and we empower the communities on women's rights as well as the fact that we encourage skill training for women and girls.
The Hope Center, I must say, is a very interesting organization, and I'm privileged to be one of the volunteers working with the best and most aspiring teams in fighting and breaking the silence on domestic violence.
For the 1 year that the Hope Center Cameroon has been existing, we've had a series of activities that we've carried out so far. In August 2017, we had our first workshop on ending domestic violence, where we had 17 participants who shared their views and learned so much about domestic violence which they have never known, and when ready to share the knowledge with others. Our second workshop was on understanding the rights of women and girls, which brought together 12 participants who also left with the knowledge about women's rights and the rights of women and girls. Then we had the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is every October. And in October 2017, we visited the Catholic University Students Association. We also visited churches. We had the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon. That's the Peace Presbyterian Church in Musang. We went to the Catholic Church in St. John, Foncha Street. We had the Catholic Church in Tasen, and we also visited the Presbyterian Church in Tarem, where we met with the Christians who were happy to have us around. In terms of the groups we visited the cadets of St. Michael's Parish, My Five Queen, and we also visited a female group of women in Bamenda who were also happy to have us around, and they learned so much about domestic violence.
I joined the organization in October 2017, and my very first encounter with the organization was when I received an invitation to attend a workshop on domestic violence. That was in the month of August 2017. I was really overwhelmed with what I got to learn. I got to realize that I personally faced domestic violence without even realizing I was a victim of domestic violence. So this really moved me personally. It really touched me personally, to a point where I made a decision to help others realize what they are going through and maybe become better human beings. They should be the best of themselves.
We also commemorated the 16 days activism to end gender-based violence, and our focus was in schools, and we visited 3 schools and we had 4 programs with them. In PCHS we had 2 programs with 2 different sessions of students. We had the session with the high school students, and we had a session with the Form 1, Form 2 and Form 3 students. And then we also went to GBHS Bamenda, where we had a massive crowd, and we also went to BHS Mancon, where we met some students, and we tried to make them understand the gender-based violence they face when they're in campus or around the campus. A program in Kum Division during the 11th February celebration, where we empowered the teachers and the students against gender-based violence, especially violence against women and domestic violence.
I must also say I'm privileged to have been part of the activities, which has been so enriching to me.
In March 2018, we launched one of our big programs called Safe Space. Safe Space is a space which brings together women and girls to express themselves freely without anyone shunning them down. It's also a space which empowers women and girls to be economically viable and to fend for themselves so that they don't become supportive, so they don't become dependent on men and other women for their livelihood. This event brought together 6 girls who brainstormed on how to economically empower themselves and how other women can learn from them on empowering themselves, because we have noticed that much of the violence women and girls face is because they are so dependent on men and women, and now we don't want to ask what the men are doing for us, but what are we women doing for ourselves. And the outcome of the event, we brought resolutions which aim at empowering women and women empowering themselves so that they too can actively contribute to the development of their communities. In the course of the 1 year that we've been existing, we've received 4 cases and we've been able to intervene in 2 of those cases. As for the other 2, the people dropped along the way and didn't want to speak out as they thought they could. And this takes us to the major challenge we face in this our work that we do. It's difficult for victims to speak out and break the silence of the abuse and the torture they face every day. Why is this? We live in a community where men and women, or women, are expected to live in silence and not to speak out about what they go through. So far, it's been very difficult to actually get the women to speak out. We meet them every day, but what's the challenge? They don't want to break the silence. Another thing too is, we might think only women face domestic violence, but now we have realized that men too are victims of domestic violence, but they do not speak out, and that's the worst set of people who do not speak out. As for women, I can tell a lady friend, I can tell a neighbor about what I'm going through, but men living in a society where we are considered to be very strong, they don't talk about what they face, and most of them die in silence. We keep hearing of domestic violence, but what is domestic violence really? Domestic violence, or intimate partner violence as it is called, is when one partner in a relationship purposely decides to hurt the other one. And what's the main reason about this? Is just to have control and power over the other partner.
At first I didn't know the various aspects of, or the different types of domestic violence, but through this organization I am now open to the various types of domestic violence of which I never knew of. One of the activities also I was also privileged to attend was the activity that was carried out in Tatum, in which we sensitized teachers and students to break domestic violence.
Now, when we get into our communities, we realize that there are so many people who are suffering from domestic violence, and it has become a cancer eating us slowly without anyone speaking against it. The women, the men alike, because you might find it funny that the men are victims of domestic violence, but they are, yes, but they do not speak about it because we live in a patriarchal society where men are expected to be strong and not to show their weaknesses, and for this reason the men do not speak about it, but they too are victims. Together, I think if all of us, men, women, children, stand up against domestic violence and we break the silence, we save a life, we save a friend, and together we can empower and free a human being.
I must say it was really interesting, because I think most of the students and teachers, they went home really educated with what we brought forth to them. And this is one amongst the many activities which we've been carrying out.
So far, the challenges I've personally faced is the reluctance. People are really so reluctant to speak out and to listen, or to share their experiences, to help the next person who might be facing the same situation without even realizing what it is. Another challenge has been the fact that really, people just think that everybody out there now is just trying to make money out of them. People usually think it is really very impossible to eradicate the act of domestic violence. If we stand together and speak out and stand strong and say no to domestic violence, in little or no time we realize that there is little or if not no violence occurring anymore in our homes, in our schools, in our offices. So I really want to call upon all of us to remove that notion of impossibility and start thinking positively and being optimistic in our way of reasoning.
In view of our upcoming activities, we would like to talk about our maiden activity, Support a Girl Stay in School, which will be carried out in Vekovi in Jakiri subdivision. Support a Girl in School aims at donating sanitary pads to girls in school to help them, to enable them stay in school during menstruation. Research has shown that most girls in rural areas do not go to school during menstruation because they cannot afford sanitary towels. For that reason, the Hope Center came up with the project to support girls in rural areas to stay in school. So invite all of you to join us, Support a Girl Stay in School.
But my tears can bring you back. You got